We have the power of Dark World for you today. Also appears that Orcust is making a splash, and we have hero action as well. Make sure you guys smash the like button, that subscribe button, so you guys don't miss out on more content. So you were walking around out here wondering, how in the world has Dark World managed to make a splash in the meta out here when you've got things like Dimension Shifter tearing through the meta? Well, I got good news for you. That's not always going to be the case. You're going to have abnormalities like this that'll show up that are going to look like a lot of fun. Now, I think one of my favorite things about this list is, yes, we are playing the Fabled Raven in here. You know, a free level modification for a tuner is kind of funny. You know, there's also going to be a time where, you know, this is going to come up for what, like a multiple discard, be able to set up, and congratulations, free Chaos Angel fodder. You know, just kind of off to the races. You don't really think about those kinds of things until they actually do come up out here, which is really freaking hilarious. Now, obviously, Fiendsmith package is going to be your strong base to this deck. You know, it kind of allows this deck to anchor itself down and be able to control its matchup as it needs to, which is going to be good. All right, you're going to see a lot more of that anchoring down kind of stuff. That's going to be very, very strong out here to do its thing. And, of course, the Horus pad. Honestly, the fact that you've taken all of these different engines and you slap them on into this deck and said, this is what we're going to do. This is going to be the perfect package to make sure that you've got all of your bases covered out here and you've come up with the perfect recipe for destruction. I love this. This is the kind of stuff that you do need to be seeing out here as the meta is kind of developing and more people are kind of stepping up to bat out here to actually play the game, which is looking very, very nice. So, I don't think I would change anything in this list. You know, your Ken and Gen ratios are fine. You know, let's take a look at a sample hand here. Okay, I mean, the Overlord plus this, plus the Fuga, plus the Gen. Like, okay, you know, we're cooking. I've seen all I needed to see with this. All right, next up here, we have Orcust with Runick. Now, talk about taking me back to a simpler time out here, because this is one of the earlier builds that we saw people kind of messing around with out here with ratios. And I think that was kind of a cool thing out here, the fact that, you know, we can actually play Orcust, you know, pre the new support, still doing a thing, maximizing on Galtea, and here, honestly, kind of as you need to be, right? In terms of what this deck's going to be doing, you're just going to be playing the strong Runick interruption game out here, you know, putting those interruptions on up while you'll be using the fountain to find you those key cards to get you into your drawing points, which is, you know, pretty much what this deck wanted to be doing out here in the first place. You know, draw and seek those outs and get you into that place that you need to be. But it also proves that there is a good, very strong level of consistency that this deck has going for it that I don't think a lot of people really get the chance to see out here, you know. Also, double crescendo, I think, is fine. Obviously, you don't have the ability to loop this on back to your hand with the Link 4 because it doesn't exist yet. But the fact that, you know, we can pregame this and get these results is very, very freaking hilarious to me. Also, going with the 2 orchestrator returns, I think that's fine. You also do see the 1 symbol skeleton in here. You know, you don't want to maximize too much on what I would consider to be the potential dead draws out here. A lot of them are going to feel not the best, that's for sure. I kind of feel like with cards like these, you're going to run into some issues, but you got to have cards to be able to stop your opponent from actually, you know, destroying you. And I mean, I think you've got them here. I think you've got a good solid foundation in this build for what you can do, but you are 100% a rogue challenger for sure. All right, next up here, we have some hero action for you out here. Now, the reason why this is in here, their extra deck, I think, had one too many, and we're pretty sure that this was supposed to be the outlier. But we are packing in 50 cards for our hero special here. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention, I mean, if you're going to be looking at anything hero-related, it's going to be pretty much the same thing across the board. You know, people are going to try to up the number of cards in this deck to find the quote-unquote level of consistency that they're looking for out here. And I mean, you're gonna do just fine with that. Obviously, we are doing the Infernal Rider in here. I still think that Infernal Rider is a little bit of a joke. in some of these builds, which is okay, to say the least. You know, you got to think about it like this. All right. For the commitment to this card, it's a little bit rough. You know, there's a reason why you're only playing the one Super Poly in here as kind of like the generic cleanup card. In terms of hand traps, you see anything in the monster lineup? No. Anything in the spells? I mean, you have a board breaker here. You know, you have these kind of count. And then, of course, you have imperms in here kind of as the cleanup card. This list is lacking in a little bit of the department for immediate cleanup stuff against the opponent. That's kind of something I wanted to point out a little bit here with this. Just kind of going forward in here. You've got... This build is good. All right, it's just you're going to be relying on a lot of things to kind of come together if you end up bricking or something like that. But I mean, that's why you're playing the 50 cards, right? You're trying to eliminate those bad draws while maximizing on the synergy of the deck flowing together. That's the struggle of being a hero main out here, honestly. But hey, you know what? I've seen more and more hero players innovating out here with this deck. It's actually kind of crazy to me to see these ratios and things that people have been coming up with. So it's been good. Ooh, we have more heroes for you here. Now, what's honestly crazy to me about all the hero innovations out here is just the ratios that have been coming together out here. You know, what people have been just going, hey, you know, what we can do. Hey, this build, going with the one Infernal Raider. Like, I've seen so many people so, you know, not even wanting to play this card. But, okay, I see you. I see that we've gone with the triple Mulch Army in this deck. Now, this actually feels a little bit more warranted here. By actually having the Mulch Armies in the main, you're attempting to filter for the good cards. And if you can actually get to the good, strong cards, you should be setting up and doing relatively well for your end board. Of course, this build was also choosing to do the 2 copies of the board breaker in here. I think that that's going to be a good option. You don't want to... I don't think you don't want to not have these. I think every hero list is kind of agreeing out here on the same thing, that you want to make sure that you are having this, you know, kind of help you out so you can actually, you know, do your thing. In terms of the rest of what this deck is going to be giving to you, I think you've got a lot of very strong ratios available to you. Once again, I mean, this build shaved off 1 card from the other list. You know, it went from 50 down to a 49 in terms of the consistency change. But I also do want to say out here that this is really cool. We are actually packing in the shifter in here as well, so you can cross this thing out. Shifter is going to be the death of this deck. All right, and I'm going to be very honest with you here. If this shifter does end up resolving, it feels like tragically bad, and that's one of the biggest takeaways from this. So something very, very good to look out for. And we also have more Chron's. More and more people out here have been trying out Chron's. I'm loving the sheer amount of cool ideas that have been people just challenging out here. You know, the more successful build has been, you know, with Terror Top. I think most people are kind of agreeing that Terror Top into Cherubini is the way to go. But you've got people out here that are testing the Horus builds. I think that the Horus stuff is incredibly good. It's been the slightly more competitively successful variant on the regional circuit. But then you have builds that are showing up out here playing the 50 card versions out here that I think are fine. You know, you want to give credit where credit's due for things like this. You know, being able to stick the adventure package on the board and be able to get that float is actually very, very critically important. I think a lot of people have kind of forgot that, you know, you want that level of stability because, you know, having that protection set up and, you know, also having this be a free level 3 extender is also really, really freaking good. That's why you're maximizing on this stuff, you know. You want to make sure you can get this. Also, Crystron package looks absolutely fantastic for what you're doing with this. But this should give you a strong base as to what you're looking at out here and what you want to challenge in the meta kind of going forward. So what do you guys think about all of these cool, exciting decks? There's a lot of cool things out here to try, and honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what people are going to come up with. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.